My name is Duane Black. I'm 67 years old and have significant interest in intuitive and spiritual things. I've been studying since my early 40s, initially very intensely, maybe 10, 20 hours a week for 10 years. I reached a point where I discovered I knew more than I could do. So I wanted to catch up on the other side of the equation and not have it just be about the information, but I'll also have it be about the application. Probably my favorite intuitive tool is one I just happened to discover. Initially, I was introduced to the pendulum by my older brother and was intrigued with that, but found it to be somewhat unreliable in that once I got used to it, I could have it do whatever I wanted to do. I moved from that to muscle testing, and I like muscle testing. I still use it, but it was more awkward. To be in a vitamin store and test 100 different brands of vitamin C and try and do a muscle test on every one, it just wasn't as efficient as I wanted to be. And I came across an awareness of when I was aligned with something, it affected how easy it was for me to breathe. My breath was open and came easily. When I was misaligned, my breath tended to be closed and was a struggle, almost like what happens just before you cough. And I developed a little explanation that I use with people of two Boy Scout experiences. One, we were camping down near Tucson, near Kartchner Caverns. And we were in a large cave. It was so dark, you could not see your hand in front of your face. And the air was thick and humid, and just wasn't a very comfortable space. And then our scoutmaster, who had been there before, chose to take us through a little tunnel they nicknamed the Lemon Squeeze. It was about 10, 12 feet long. It was so small that you couldn't crawl through it. You literally had to lay down on your stomach or on your back and kind of wiggle your way through it, almost like a snake. And halfway through this lemon squeeze, I observed that it was really hard for me to breathe. I was uncomfortable. I was nervous because I had such tight surroundings, and I couldn't even use my flashlight because the space was too small. Once I emerged from the other side, it was better, but during the transition through the lemon squeeze, my breath was very constrained. I encourage people to imagine that and to take a breath while they're imagine it, purposely draw in a deep breath while they're imagining being in that circumstance, and see if it comes easily, or see if it's a struggle for it to come. For most people, it's a struggle to take a deep breath with that vision in their head. The other example I use, we were camping at Mormon Lake near Flagstaff. We were above the lake at the tree line, and we woke up in the morning and it was beautiful. The temperature was a little cold, but nearly perfect. There was a fresh smell of pine and dew in the air. And as you looked out over the valley and the lake, you couldn't help it. You just had to take a deep breath and breathe it in. It was just a beautiful sight. And I ask people with that picture in their head, in their imagination, purposely take a breath and see if it isn't much more open and doesn't come much more easily than it did when they were imagining being in a cave. Most, not all, but most can distinguish between the two. And as they practice, they become ever more aware, and it becomes much easier to access. I've reached a point now where I can look at anyone or anything, instantly tune into my breath, and get a sense of whether I'm open or closed. What I believe it's telling me is that what my alignment is. Alignment is something I have found to be one of the keys to health and well-being and to spiritual growth. Now, I tried it in Las Vegas. It doesn't work. But if you use it in the context of what do I align with, or how do I align with this, you can use it on a person, you can use it on a book, you can use it on food, you can use it on vitamins, anything where what's my alignment is your question. And the value I believe it brings is we know what we like. Often, I love ice cream. No, I don't align with ice cream. With the pendulum as an example, if I wanted to align with it, I did. With the breath, not so much. It's pretty independent and pretty accurate for me. Where I don't find accuracy is on yes and no questions. Is it going to be a sunny day? That's not necessarily an alignment question for me. Is it going to, is so-and-so going to be in a good mood? I don't know. It's not an alignment question. It tells me, at least I believe, what I'm in alignment with at the level of soul. It's not what I think I'm in alignment with because I read about it in a book, or I read about it in an article and someone said it was good for me. So I decided I wanted to try it, but didn't actually know how I would respond to it, how it would react in my system. As I get older, I find I have less and less tolerance. Either a more refined system or a more aged system, maybe some of both. So I really like it as a tool of alignment. People that I've taught to have expressed how well it's worked for them. I invite you to consider it. Use it if you like. This is an example of the application of the process I've described. Bottle of vitamins. When I hold this in my hand and I focus my attention on this bottle, and my listening is here in my throat, in my esophagus, I purposely take a deep breath. I feel that it comes in open and easily. The important thing, I think, to understand is my attention is here. My listening is here. I'm not listening for a sound. I'm listening for a feeling. And I get a feeling of easily and openly being able to draw in a breath. Here's something, not that I don't like them, that I don't have alignment with. When I focus my attention on this and I draw in a breath, it's closed. It comes constrained. It comes almost to the point that I can't breathe in. You'll find as you do this more and more over time, you'll have a stronger reaction to things where it's very easy to distinguish one feeling from the other. In the beginning, a lot of people have told me there was a slight difference. And as they have practiced it over time, they have noticed a significant difference, and it becomes ever more easy to recognize.